Welcome to the weekly wraparound. I am Andrew McDougall, joined by Gordon Goodenough every single week. We are Hockey Hype Australia. You can find us at hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au. This is part of the Hockey Hype Australia podcast network. We are on socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X at Hockey Hype AUS. We are also live on YouTube, so please subscribe to the YouTube, like, share, comment, all that sort of stuff to help us grow. GG, how are you, mate?
Going well. Hanging in there.
It's been a big week of hockey, AW hockey. We've seen only 2 games played, but it was pretty impactful for how the season finished up. We've also got some other news as well in terms of the podcast moving forward. We did speak about it last week in terms of we had a discussion with comments from people about goals of the season and saves of the season and things like that. And we have been talking to people, and we have got a sponsor for save of the season for this season for the AW.
Yeah, we do. So thank you, Sarah Doramaja, for coming on board with that. The way she approached us and asked kind of what it would take, what we were thinking, and our thoughts were, well, we didn't want to take anything for ourselves from that. We're basically just the middleman here. And the winner of the save of the season will get, I believe Sarah is going to organize a $250 gift card for the skate shop or hockey shop of the winner's choice. And then that way they'll be able to buy, because goalies are very specific about their equipment, they can buy whatever brand, whatever from their preferred shop. So that's really cool from Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. If you'd like to get on board and do something similar for the goal of the season, reach out, let us know. Again, we'll put 100% of those funds to the player involved. They're the ones that have earned it. So yeah, thanks very much, Sarah, as Phil Taylor in the chat. Awesome, Sarah. Yes, we agree. Always looking after goalies. And Matt Meyer as well. Awesome job, Sarah. So yeah, that's brilliant. It's really cool. It's something really cool. So we're throwing around ways that we can award it. If we award it at finals, the only wrinkle in that is that Sarah will be doing like a training camp, and won't be at finals. But there is that 2-week break between the end of the regular season and the finals. That is probably a good opportunity for us to do some sort of a fan vote and to show some clips and find a winner.
We have spoken about it throughout the weeks of the weekly wraparound. And we always say that if you support us, not only do we grow, but the leagues and the sport grows as well. And this is all part of it, GG, getting people like Sarah and Sarah's family on board to do these little things just to reward the players who we watch and commentate every week. People go to the rinks every week and watch, and a lot of these players, they do pay their own way with a lot of things. So if we can get sponsorship and things like this for save of the season or goal of the season or any other sponsorship through Hockey Hype Australia, it's only a good thing that players will be able to get these vouchers and things like that for equipment and such.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great way to, if someone's got a brand that they want to kind of, a business that they want to plug and get some good PR for. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
As we did say at the top of the program, there was a really, well, I suppose 2 games, but they did have an implication on the season. There was one spot that was opened up, that 4th spot on the standings, that was still active prior to week 10 of the season. But we did see the Brisbane Lightning take that fourth spot. So now we do have the 4 teams for the finals in March, which are the Perth Inferno, Melbourne Ice, Brisbane Lightning, and Adelaide Rush, as you see on our graphic that we released today. It's pretty exciting, isn't it, GG, that these 4 teams will be in the finals. We've had some pretty good battles between these 4 teams throughout the season. Some surprises in there as well in terms of the results between these 4 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And entering the weekend, even though Sydney had, only won the 1 game, they still controlled their fate because they played the Brisbane Lightning in 4 straight games. So Sydney still, had plenty to play for, and Brisbane still knew that job wasn't finished. So it was an intriguing kind of flavor to the start of the weekend. We mentioned during the game on Sunday, just throwing it out to the fans, the last time that the Sydney Sirens were not in the grand final was like a decade ago. So it's it'll be another team taking their place. As first time that a team has won and then missed out on finals the year after. Sarah Dolamaja had that in a comment as well. And then there was another comment. We'll get to that, I think, a little bit later. But just to as a teaser, Georgia Carson, she left a comment under Sarah's comment that potentially this year could see the reverse of that happening, where the team that finished in last place last season, the Adelaide Rush, could go home with the Joan McCowan Memorial Trophy. So plenty of stuff to chat about.
And we look at the standings after week 10, the Melbourne Ice, who didn't play, obviously, it was only the Lightning and the Sirens that played across the weekend. They remain on top. The Rush, second on 23 points. Inferno, third, 22. Lightning in fourth on 17. They clinched the final position. Sirens in fifth spot with 3 points, 1 win. We did have Phil Taylor in our comments as well today, talking about the order of the top 4, and it's definitely not set in stone. As you look at the points there, GG, it's still quite close. And we'll talk about a little bit later on when we discuss the Sirens. They'll play a bit of a role in how the top 4 is shaped.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at the top team, Melbourne Ice, and their schedule to finish. They've got 2 games in Adelaide this weekend, and then they will play the Brisbane Lightning, who we'll get to that, but who looked really good. So, a lot can happen with those standings. Perth, everyone's right in there. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating end to the season. We're 75% of the way through the season, 25% left to go. So let's see how they finish. But it is a 4-horse race, definitely.
Yeah, and with teams the teams are getting players back too, whether or not that's from national team duties or the Olympics, the Youth Olympics, or just returning from injuries or unavailability and stuff like that. So teams are getting players back as well. So it's going to be a real race to the finish.
Yep.
As we look into the first topic that we have for tonight, we've got a bit to get through tonight. The Lightning do clinch that 4th position. It was a pretty good performance from the Lightning across the entire weekend, GG. On the Saturday, they beat the Sirens 5-1, and I felt like on Saturday they dominated that game from start to finish. It was really impressive from the Lightning. I felt like they knew what they needed to do, and they came out and performed on the Saturday. On the Sunday, it was a bit of a different story. The Sirens, who we expected them to show up and battle on the Sunday because that's what they've done all season, and they did win the previous weekend against the Inferno on the Sunday. But the Lightning still got the win 7-2, clinched that 4th position, and they looked really, really good.
Yeah, so I rewatched the Saturday game on the Sunday before our call, so just to watch it twice. And one thing I noticed, and I think we mentioned it during the broadcast on Sunday. That was the best that I've seen a team play without the puck this season. The structure that they had and maintained. So there were several moments where the Sirens were, the player would have the puck behind their own net for the Sirens, and the Sirens probably only had the puck a third of the time. And player had, a defense has it in behind the net. And then the forecheck for the Lightning, you would have, one forechecker going in deep. You'd have two hovering around the two other forwards around the face-off circles, around the top of the circles. And then you'd have the 2D against the boards. And Sydney just couldn't get it out. There were long stretches where they were hemmed in their own zone. And the neutral zone play as well. Brisbane were standing them up at the blue line. They were the D were kind of positioned a meter or two inside the blue line, and then would just like rush up and prevent the entries. So it was, I described it to head coach Matt Meyer just in a message. It was like a boa constrictor performance. It just choked the life out of Sydney and didn't give them anything. And then on Sunday, Adelaide got a couple of bounces sorry, not Adelaide. Sydney got a couple of bounces to go ahead 1-0 and then 2-1. I thought, well, here we go. Maybe Sydney can make a fight of this, and Brisbane just, didn't get discouraged, put the foot down and finish the job. So full credit to them. Jamie Goonan returned to the squad. Yeah, Lightning. Yes, absolutely. And mate, I think having Jamie Goonan improves that team immensely, and obviously having the players return, Georgia Watts, Katie Meyer returned from game one, just sensational. Yeah.
One of those players as well, and you'd spoken about previously with the Lightning, was Shanita Crompton returning, and returned in a big way, not only on the score sheet, scoring goals, assisting, but it's that you're just speaking about the neutral zone play and things like that, and just finding the right spots. And that's what Crompton does for the Lightning. Skates to the right spot. He's a good skater, good hands, good vision. And having someone like that return for the Lightning was just a massive, massive boost.
Yeah, it was just like, and we mentioned this. Her ability to skate through the offensive zone to create room for teammates and ability to find space. So that, we'll show the highlight, but there was a goal she scored. I think it might have been Abby Brown went in behind the net, and no Sirens player went after her. They're all in front of the net, and Crompton still found space, and Brown picked her out with a beautiful pass for the goal. So she adds a lot to the Lightning team, and if you survive, the Emma Wuthridge, Lindsay Kalinick, Abby Brown kind of line. It might have been Badgley actually that put the puck in for Crompton. My apologies. But if you survive that line, then you've got to deal with Crompton, and then you've got to deal with the line with either Georgia Watts or Courtney Mahoney. Like, geez, good luck.
And we do have Crompton's goal, and you have uploaded these into the system, but the names are incorrect on the files. So I'll do my best to upload which one I think is the correct file here. We'll see what happens. This is great live show, isn't it?
Georgia Watts now in behind the net. Pass in front for Crompton. What a beautiful goal by Shanita Crompton on the one-timer. Yeah, so her other goal was almost identical to that one from the same place on the ice, Shanita Crompton. So just finds that space, right along the rails, right? You just can't leave Shanita Crompton that open.
And you mentioned Emma Wuthridge, who is just an outstanding import for not only the Lightning, for the league. If you can get quality like this into the league, it's just going to draw people through the gates and through the doors. every single week, no matter what rink you're at. If you know that Emma Ruthridge is playing, get down and have a look at the Lightning. It was a second period of a shorthanded goal and power play goal that really opened up the Sunday game when the Sirens were in it, and the Sirens are out shooting the Lightning as well. But just those two goals that were the Sirens didn't score after the first period, but those two goals, a shorthanded goal and a power play goal from Emma Wuthridge, just opened up the game. We've got that goal here, so hopefully I picked the right one again, GG.
With only the 2-minute break, it will be interesting to see later in the period if the legs start to go as Wuthridge comes in short-handed, stops up and scores! What a goal from Emma Wuthridge!
Just a great goal off the face-off, collects the puck and goes from blue line to the other end and then puts it in. Just a nice little, if you watch that goal and you see that just a little shifting of the skates and just pulling up before the goaltender and just putting it away. It's just quality again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You see some of the goals that she does, the stick handling, the skating, it's top notch. So yeah, it's been great. It's been great to watch this season so far. So, and she's not just like she's not unengaged when she's not scoring. She's quite gets amongst it. She gets amongst it, Emma Wuthridge.
If you got any comments, drop them in the chat on YouTube, Facebook. I think we're live on Instagram, GG. It's telling me that we're live, but usually you got to have a window open. You got to hit go live on the Instagram, and it hasn't given me that option. So I don't know if we are live on Instagram. It's telling me we are, but who knows? Lindsay Clinic as well was good on the weekend again. Scored another goal as well. You just see like there was a moment there. I'm trying to think of when it was, GG, and you called it on the play-by-play. The edge work to cut back on, I can't remember who the Sirens player was, but Clinic was going to her left and then just cut back to the right towards the boards and then cleared the zone. It was just unbelievable. But we do have the Clinic goal, and I hope I'm going to do this one correct, GG.
Oh, mate, you're 2 for 2. Let's go 3 for 3.
Because we've only got 2 more for the Lightning, but hopefully this is right.
Aaron's offensive zone. Katie Meyer just settles that down for the defender. And now Clinic is in. Cuts back inside, shoots, and scores! What a goal by Lindsay Clinic has put the Brisbane Lightning ahead for the first time this game.
I remember when we spoke to Matt Meyer a couple of weeks ago when we did the weekly wraparound, and we're talking about Lindsay Clinic, and Matt Meyer said that he'd back her in to be the quickest skater and all that sort of stuff. Lindsay Clinic is really, really talented hockey player, like really talented. And it's great getting to watch, and we commentate a lot of Lightning games. So it's great getting to watch someone like Lindsay Clinic go about her business. Scored a goal of the season contender this year already, puts that one away, which is a good goal. And it's just nice hands to cut over to the right and then fire it away.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but after the first weekend, I told you've got to watch Lindsay Clinic this season. Like she was unreal in that first weekend against the Adelaide Rush. Head coach Matthew Meyer just saying another candidate for goal of the year. You did mention that on the broadcast, Doogie. It seems like every week we get a candidate for goal of the year. But yeah, just a sensational player, really smart, gives her all in every zone. So whether it's a defensive zone or to initiate the breakout or skate it out of the zone, in the neutral zone, offensive zone, she's everywhere.
Yep. The other goal that we got here as well, and it's someone that I'm going to mention when we go through our topics in a couple of moments. Our other topics for the Lightning. Georgia Watt scored a goal, really, really good goal on the backhand. And we've got the goal here. Now, I've just forgotten, GG, which one I just put up last. So I've got no idea. I've got no idea what this one's going to be. Hopefully I get it right.
Siren's offensive zone.
Nah, that's not the one.
It'll be it'll be
the one that actually says Georgia Watts on it.
Yeah. Gets a shot on. Good save by Lakari. Badgley. Gets it back around for Watts. Watts on the backhand. What a goal by Georgia Watts. Puts her team up 7-2, and that is the final nail in the Sirens finals chances coffin.
And it was the file that said Georgia Watts. That's a really good goal to go backhand like that, and also top shelf over the goaltender.
Yeah, no, it was a brilliant goal. She scored. She doesn't mind scoring on the backhand, does she? Like she scored one against Melbourne. Was it against Janelle Carson on Melbourne? But on that Sunday game that the Lightning ended up winning, I think 9-5. Yeah, she scored one on the backhand. Another beauty there. It's hard to get it over the shoulder of Lakari, because Lakari is just such a tall goaltender, but picked the spot perfectly. I wasn't sure. I think I mentioned in the broadcast. I wasn't sure if it maybe took like a little bit of a touch off Lily Roberts' stick because it was fluttering a little bit, but it was a perfectly placed shot. So yeah, she's looked good this weekend. Scored a goal in each game, I think, on her return to the team.
Yep. So the Lightning, they clinch a finals position. Who knows where they will finish come the end of the regular season. One of the other players that we've got on our ticket tonight is Abby Brown on a heater. 5 games, 6 goals, 8 points in her past 5 games. Is absolutely firing on all cylinders, Abby Brown. And once again on the weekend, was scoring goals, was setting people up, was doing it all once again for the Lightning.
Yeah, so three goals this weekend, right, for Abby Brown, I think. Yeah, just brilliant. Like, works hard, goes to the net front. The one or at least one of the goals, I think, was her going to the front of the net. Wuthridge had the initial opportunity, came off Lakari's pad, and then Brown buried it. So yeah, just a smart player and gets to those kind of gritty areas. And I think it's a really, I really enjoyed watching the different things that each one of those players brought to that line of Clinic, Brown, and Wuthridge.
And last week, Abby Brown was in the 3 stars that gets voted on by the fans as well. So getting noticed as well. So not, people can watch hockey games and you might see just the main stars sort of thing, putting in goals and doing all that sort of stuff. But Abby Brown was in the stars of the week last week after week 9. And I would not be surprised once again if Brown gets a lot of votes for week 10.
Yeah, it's tough because you look at who do you leave out in your 3 stars? Who you like? I put up my 3 stars earlier today, and I'm like, I wish I could do an asterisk and add another 4 or 5 names, because in my opinion, like the forwards get all the glory, but the blue line for the Lightning were really good. Like Brophy did such a good job standing in for Alison Carlisle on the power play and being that net front presence and was causing havoc. Well, it looks like we're talking about that next. And, having Goonan back, being eased back into the lineup. Tracy Hokert, such a smart player. Seren Powell got a go on the blue line. I haven't seen her much this season, so it was nice to see her get some time against the Sirens. And, Dixon, you always know what you're going to get from Dixon. Like it's such a good group. And Katrina Rapchuk, geez, like, man, she could skate. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing. It come finals time.
It was a really good segue into that topic. GG. The fact that I totally agree about the defense, and we'd spoken about the Lightning all season and their defense and how good they are on the blue line of just trapping it in. And then you've got someone like Rapchuk who can really skate well and can jump up into a rush or into the offense. the fact that Katie Meyer only had to face 14 shots on Saturday, that goes to show you the type of defense that Meyer has got. And if they're on their game, they can really shut out the opposition and have their goaltender sort of not having an easy day, but not being as active as the other end. And then if you throw someone like Alison Carlisle into the mix as well, to that Lightning defense from the weekend, it's just even stronger. It's quite scary to think of how good that blue line is for the Lightning when they're all healthy, they're all available and firing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I think, like anything can happen at finals. But as I said, I was just so impressed by the structure of the Lightning. The only opportunity, and we will show that goal later for the Sirens, but the Sirens were limited to scraps, and they were missing Sarah Edney. So the task was already going to be monumental with Sarah Edney. Without her, it was another level. But they were limited to like rush chances and shots from distance. It was very impressive, and that's I think what enabled the goaltending coach Jaden Pine Murphy to put Katie Meyer back in net on the Sunday because of the workload.
Yeah, they were taking a lot of low percentage shots. The Sirens out wide, sort of from the blue line. The Lightning were doing a really good job of not letting them sort of inside into those high danger areas, especially on the Saturday. One of the other topics that we've got, GG, and it's something that I wanted to raise. I did chuck it in. I did message it in with Matt, and Matt never replied, so he probably doesn't think that my opinion on this is anything to sneeze at, GG. But when I was watching the Lightning, I actually thought to myself, if you look outside of like your Wuthridge or Badgley players like that who are sort of leading on the points, Mahoney as well is up there for the points for the Lightning. When I watched them across the weekend, I felt like they're a really scary team when they're getting secondary scoring, whether or not that is from Abby Brown, Georgia Watts, players like that. So Georgia Watts has got goals in the past 2 games. Shanita Crompton returns goals in the past 3 games. If you're getting secondary scoring from these players heading into finals, I think you're in a really, really good position on top of the likes of Wuthridge and Mahoney and players like that. If the Lightning continue to get this sort of scoring, this sort of secondary scoring, they're going to be really strong in the finals.
Yeah, 100%. It's what you need, really. Like whatever brand of hockey come finals time, there's you don't have as much time, you don't have as much space to operate. So you really need, those contributions up and down the lineup, and you can probably sometimes during the regular season get away with rolling 2 lines for stretches, which you may not get that same opportunity to do so at finals. You need like 3 good lines at least. So yeah, it's good. I think there's a few teams that have recently that have got some secondary scoring. I think we'll talk about the Adelaide Rush a bit later, but one from the Adelaide Rush that I think that doesn't get enough credit is Jamie Lunn, who had a good weekend against the Ducks. We'll get to that, of course.
If you got any comments about the Lightning before we move on, when we talk about the Sirens, just drop them in the chat. We'll get them up on the screen, Facebook or YouTube. Let us know wherever you're watching from. The Lightning did play the Sirens, obviously, on the weekend, and the Sirens went in there. They basically had to win out, GG, to make the finals. They couldn't get it done, unfortunately. It's been a tough season, but we do know everything that's going on with the Sirens. The turnover of players, the departures, the retirements, all those sorts of things. They're rebuilding. We had mentioned it on the coverage, and Graham Hydes mentioned it too when he'd been on this weekly wraparound that I think he said he tipped them to be a dynasty in about 5 years' time, something like that. Despite the results this season, only the 1 win sitting down the bottom, I still think there's a lot to like about the roster and players in the roster and where they're heading.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about the impact of missing Sarah Edney this weekend. The entire forward group of the Sirens entering this weekend, not named Sarah Edney, had scored a combined 16 goals, and Sarah Edney had scored entering this weekend 16 goals. So she was definitely she is a huge part of that Sirens team. Just her shot is elite. So missing her is tough, but there were some good performances from some of the younger players. I know you're a big fan of Gabby Arps, Doogie. What do you see from a player like Gabby Arps?
So we can just segue into that topic, GG.
Smooth.
I'm really impressed with Gabby Arps every single time I watch the Sirens play, and I think it's a really talented defender that the Sirens have there. And I did mention it on the commentary that I think when the Sirens turn this around and they become very competitive again and start winning games and start pushing up to finals and things like that, I think Gabby Arps will be a very, very much a focal point of that team. Someone that you can sort of build a team around on the blue line. Played all 12 games this season, hardly in the penalty box for the Sirens, but positional play, and you see it a lot. You've seen it on the weekend as well, just able to either get a body in there and stop an offensive rush from the opposition, get a stick in there, take the puck away. But even the work behind the net that I see from Gabby Arps is she'll collect the puck behind the net, doesn't panic, and will just sort of shift to either one side or the other and swivel, I suppose, the hips and the body and send a player one way and she'll go the other way and clear the puck along the boards or just sort of skate it out. I think Gabby Arps is really impressive. And we've seen, I suppose, what people see from Gabby Arps in terms of national team selection.
Yeah, so she'll be going to representing the Australian senior women's team with Lily Roberts as well from the Sydney Sirens. But yeah, her ability to use her size is impressive, and she was breaking up the cycles in behind the net on the weekend, and has been doing that all season. So yeah, I agree. A player with a lot of potential, and you look at that group. Hannah Cryan, she's only 14, 15. Hannah Cryan. You forget that sometimes she's done so much for represented Australia at the Olympics and also for the under-18 women's team. They've got a great young core group of players, and Lily Roberts, like the shot that she has, to add that, coming from the blue line and to see that for another 5-10 years is going to be great. And Remy Harvey, she hasn't retired, so if she comes back to this Sirens group, Fiona Moon has been out injured. You add that experience to this team, and there's big improvements.
Yeah, I agree. And just before we move on from ARPS and we talk about the future of the Sirens, we don't obviously have shift times and things like that at hand with the A-dub when you're looking at, but it seems like Gabby Arps is out there for every other shift as well. So puts in big minutes, I think, for the Sirens. I don't know if you feel the same way, GG, but she feels like when we're calling that Gabby Arps is, every other shift is out there on the blue line.
Yeah, Arps, Winder, Roberts, those are the names that you call a lot from the blue line for the Sirens for sure.
But I totally agree about the Sirens' future as well. You mentioned Roberts and Hannah Cryan. I thought Hannah Cryan had a good return as well. When you've come in as well without Sarah Edney, and we'd spoken about the lack of Edney, just being able to drive offense through the neutral zone with her stick handling, puck handling, and things like that to take the blue line and get into the offensive zone. The Sirens are outshot 44-14 on Saturday, and I think they just struggled to generate offense. But I felt like Hannah Cryan did a really good job of trying to get into the right spots and trying to carry the puck and just trying to create with her hands or with her vision. So I think it was a good return for Hannah Cryan on the weekend. We do have that Lily Roberts goal. This one, I think, GG, is the correct file. I hope.
Oh, mate, I had to be right for one of them. And now Roberts countering. Has Bikini with her, skating to the right circle. Shot and a goal! A beautiful goal by Lily Roberts.
Just a nice skate, a nice finish. I think it went top shelf above the left shoulder of Katie Meyer. Really good finish from the angle. And it was a highlight, I suppose, of not many sort of highlights coming out of the weekend for the Sirens in terms of scoring and things like that. But that goal from Lily Roberts is something that they can look forward to for a lot of years.
Yeah, I think so. Lily Roberts, she's already scored. She scored kind of 3 goals so far, at least. I know she scored 4 this season, but mentally, I can remember 3 goals from that right side, usually from a bit further deep. I think she scored one against Adelaide in Sydney, like an absolute bomb from the top of the circle. So she's got a heck of a shot on her. So yeah, definitely a bright part of the Sirens blue line. Yeah, but another player
And you
that
throw in play.
Sorry, yeah,
go on, mate. No, go.
No, I was just going to say another player that had put herself into position for some chances and was a bit unlucky with the finishing was Ava Pickering as well for the Sydney Sirens. So 1 or 2 of those go in. Yeah, but it could change the complexity of or complexion rather of the game. But you saw even on that goal by Roberts, she was forced to the outside, needed a perfect shot to be able to score, came up with it, to her credit. But that was all that the Lightning were giving away that game.
And I think you're seeing good signs as well from players like Nikita Horvat as well every week. Not so much, I suppose, scoring goals, but did score against the Inferno. But just getting in the right spots and sort of working hard, getting in behind the net on the forward check and things like that. Going into the abyss, GG, along the boards and working hard. So it does look exciting for the Sirens, I think, despite the really tough year in terms of wins and things like that. I think there is a lot to like about a lot of the young players that are coming through at the Sirens.
Yeah, I think so, and I think head coach Gabriel Blado and the staff, Annalie Quisler is an assistant manager there that I know Gabe has mentioned a lot about. The coaching staff there are recognizing that this is a young group and rebuilding and that they're building for the future. So yeah, I think that's the view that people need to have, that there is going to be a little bit of pain, but there's certainly a bright future there. Fletcher Marshall was agreeing with your assessment of Gabby Arp, Stuggy.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and it's not just exciting for the Sirens. It's exciting to watch for the national team to see these players come into the system. And I think if you're a Sirens fan, GG, I think if you've been dominant for a decade and you're coming off a championship as well, I think if you're having a couple of sort of rebuild years and then you're back up with the talent that's coming through, I think you're pretty happy. I think you'd be happy to sort of sit back and go, okay, we're having a bit of a rebuild here. In a few years' time, we'll be back up there into the finals.
I'm not going to tell Sirens fans how to feel. I'll let you do that, mate.
The Sirens, though, they will finish off their season, even though they cannot make the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League finals series. They play back-to-back home series to see out the season. This coming weekend, they'll play the Brisbane Lightning, and then the following weekend, they will play the Perth Inferno. So despite not being able to make the finals now, they will play a major role in how the top 4 is actually shaped come finals time when they play the Lightning and the Inferno. And I mentioned it on the coverage at the end. I think teams like that sort of stuff as well. If they can sort of shape how the top 4, that'll be sort of motivation enough, I think, going into the final couple of weekends.
Yeah, probably. They can certainly change things around, both with the points that they give and the points that they take away, right? So, whether Brisbane Lightning are able to get a top 2 berth, or the Perth Inferno are able to get a top 2 berth, that's things they can influence. I think that's one thing I would be interested in, that I think that they would have needed to do to have a second goaltender qualified for finals anyway, is seeing what they have in their other goaltenders. Ala Lakari has definitely been the goaltender so far this season that has put them in the best position to be able to win games. But I think you need to start Emma Moonen, Naoka Wellard. You need to see what you have in those goaltenders, and give them some action against teams that will be hungry for wins. So that's what I'm looking forward to for the season. Seeing the growth of the team, and the objectives, I guess, that the coaching staff set. It's not all about the scoreboard. It's the small victories that you can take from games. Can you allow less than 25 shots in a game? Can you win a period? Can you, just the basic stuff?
And I think it's definitely not going to be easy, as you said. The Lightning and the Inferno, they'll be primed to climb the standing as high as they can. But I think, as we've seen from the Sirens all season, they're not going to make it easy for them at all coming onto their home ice. They want to finish the season strong, the Sirens. Before we move on, GG, for those who have just tuned in, they might not have tuned in from the very beginning. We've got a few people viewing at the moment. If you just want to let people know the big news from the start of the show in terms of save of the season on the weekly wraparound.
Yeah, so we're going to have Sarah Doromaja has kindly offered to support the winner of the save of the season with, I believe that will be fan voted. So you can vote on who you think made the save of the season, and they'll be able to get a gift card to the hockey store or supplier of their choice, and 100% of that money will go towards the winner of that award. So if you'd like to do the same, if you'd like to sponsor the goal of the season in a similar fashion, again, we're not taking we're taking 0% of the cut, because we feel the players deserve the award, but we are the middle people, the mediators. I don't know, but yeah, Christian Knott in the chat. Wow, awesome. Sarah Doromaja and family. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. She loves goaltenders, and goaltenders love Sarah. So
yeah, 100%. As we said at the start as well, GG, and we say it every week, if you support us, it supports the sport and helps everyone grow. So and this is just a part of it with Sarah's family, and we're forever grateful. So yeah, if you want to help support us in the sport and things like that, in sort of the way that Sarah's family has, reach out to us, and we'll make it happen. The other games that are across the weekend, GG, was the Rush travelled to Melbourne to face the Melbourne Ducks in a couple of exhibition series. Is that what I don't know what we're calling it still, GG. The Rush got the wins. They played a lot of junior players. If you check their Instagram stories and things like that, they've got a lot of young talent. I know that you were having a chat with Phil Taylor, and he was pretty excited about a play that the Rush have got as well from the weekend. The Ducks they're putting their hand up for a license. So they've had 3 series now against the Ice, the Sirens, and the Rush. It looks like it's all gone pretty well. Ice HQ do a good job. We've seen it obviously with the Pacific Hockey League previously out of Ice HQ. From the outside looking in, I think it's gone pretty well. We'll wait and see now whether or not they do get the license, but they finish up against the Adelaide Rush with a couple of losses. But nevertheless, I don't think it's about the wins and losses. It's just about putting on a good show and hopefully they can get a license and we can get another team into the competition.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of factors, and I think there's the Ducks are confident that they can introduce the 16 without raising the costs, without an increase in costs, which would be phenomenal. I don't know all of the intricate factors, but yeah, I mean, one thing that I love about the Ducks is that they do like the intermission interviews, which is kind of cool, and end of game interviews. It's just nice to be able to hear from the players and to if you want to grow the sport, you need to highlight the players, right? So I think they do a good job with that. Phil Taylor, I'm gonna throw him under the bus here. He sent me this message and he said, and I'm gonna quote him on this just so that I don't get accused of
I'm surprised Phil
making...
wasn't the first comment in there tonight too. He's slipping, Phil.
Yeah, he was the first comment. He said
he?
Awesome, Sarah. Yeah, he was.
He was too. Yeah, my apologies, Phil. He was.
So this is Phil's corner. This is Phil's segment. The Phil Taylor segment.
Maybe we should create a banner here for Phil.
Yeah, we should. This is sponsored by Phil Taylor Photographic. So my thoughts after the weekend: Petrowski is possibly the best import ever in the A-Dub. Her puck awareness and control, skating ability, and ability to read the play are top shelf. Yesterday's game was a real showcase of all her skills, and she scored goals at will. Even without a strong third line, she could well carry them to the championship. And then he said about Jasmine Chen, Chen will be a star. Even at 15, she looked like she belonged in the 2 games. Jasmine Chen scored a beautiful goal from the left face-off circle on the Saturday game. I want to say Saturday's game. If that's incorrect, please let me know in the chat. But yeah, Regan Petrowski, she scored 4 goals on Saturday, and then she scored the first 5 goals of the game on Sunday. She scored the commentator called it a Kucherov goal. It was kind of a mix between a Kucherov and a Forsberg, but went 5-hole. So yeah, it was just if head to the Ice HQ YouTube page if you haven't seen the games, and check out the goals because they were unreal.
Well, 4 games played for Regan Petrowski in the A-Dub, 4 goals, 6 points. Last time they played, they scored a highlight goal of the season contender on the backhand against Melbourne. So it's a big call from Phil. But you can't really argue with anything that he has to say about Regan Petrowski.
Well, let's open it up to the chat. Who do you think has been the best import in the A-Dub? We've had quite a few. You think, Kayla Nielsen and Nadine Edney for the Sirens team in 2019-20. You had Courtney Moulton and Nora McLean for the Perth Inferno in that same season. The Adelaide Rush have had players like Sasha Lutz that have come through and torn things up. Who do you reckon? Let us know in the chat who you think the best import to play in the A-Dub. But on the Ducks, congrats to them. I think for the players that came, the Adelaide Rush players, I thought that they would be like, oh, let's have a holiday in Melbourne. Let's kind of take it easy and catch the sights. They came ready to play. The Adrian College connection, the ACC. Between Maya Tupper and Regan Petrowski was on full display. Maya Tupper scored a hat-trick on Saturday. Jamie Lund scored some absolutely beautiful goals with her shots as well. So yeah, it was good to watch. It was if you haven't seen the games, go back and watch them. Nicole Knott, some amazing talent in the Rush Juniors, all confidently able to hold their own. Jasmine Chen could go right into an AWHL lineup like today, and she's like what, 13, 14? Just unreal.
A great hockey family, GG.
Yeah.
I I personally think it would be great. I think more hockey's, I've always said it, more hockey is always good hockey. If the Ducks can get a license and arrive in the league, I think it would be really good. It'd be good to have not only another team, but I think they'll be able to fill out the squad quite comfortably. But I also think it would be great to have a local derby as well between the Ducks and the Ice. I think that would be really good. The Ducks I think they've got their own sort of fan base too. I don't think they're going to take a lot from the Ice. And we've seen that with the men in the Pacific Hockey League. There were sort of Ducks fans that weren't sort of AI fans, those types of things. They were just predominantly Ducks and have stayed that way as well since the PHL has departed. So I think, hopefully, it's just my opinion, but I hope the Ducks are able to get approved.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a pretty sweet jersey, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the process. I don't know. I don't know what's involved, if there needs to be a unanimous decision by the teams or bodies or not, but we'll see. Danielle King offering an option for import. Off the top of my head, it's got to be Biz Khalifa. How many points has she scored in her career as an Inferno import? Yeah, very true. Very true. You kind of forget that that Biz Scala is an import, right? You kind of forget. But yeah, she's been unreal for a few years. Like, yeah, well, since she entered the league in 2018, 19, or I think that's when she came over. But yeah, good shout, Danielle.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good time for the A-dub right now with the quality that we have and the imports coming in. Like we've mentioned Emma Wuthridge so many times, but there was plays there like on the weekend, like we're just talking about imports, GG. Just smart plays, like a pass off the boards, a backhand pass off the boards to free a teammate to take the blue line and get into a scoring position. Just things like that. Just smart hockey. So it's a good time for the A-dub, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think Emma Wuthridge is a massive import for Brisbane. I think Adelaide, you look at the variety of imports that they've been able to have, like the core four of imports, if you will. Sierra Moroniuk, Maya Tupper, Regan Petrowski, and Madeline Langevin. It's if you were to add those four players to the Melbourne Ducks right now, the Melbourne Ducks would be competitive, right? So, that's why I think you add a team like the Ducks into the competition, they're able to add imports. They're a different team. We did get an observation from Phil Taylor. Shana Godfrey played for the Ducks on the Saturday against the Rush. So Shana Godfrey will play against the Rush 5 times in 3 weeks. So they will be well and truly sick of each other by the end.
Well, that is a good segue, GJ, for our last topic, which is week 11 of the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League, where we have the Brisbane Lightning. They will travel down to Sydney and play the Sirens again at Macquarie. And the Melbourne Ice will travel to Adelaide and play the Rush, as they did a couple of weeks ago at Adelaide Ice Arena. The Brisbane Lightning, they'll be wanting to take full points so they can keep moving up the standings. The Sirens obviously be looking to finish off the season strong. That game with the Ice and the Rush, we've seen how good the game was in the 2 games were in Melbourne, with the Rush picking up one of the wins. And you said they'll be disappointed that they didn't take 2 wins, the Rush. Last time we spoke about this, but it's first v second, Melbourne Ice on 25 points, Rush on 23. This is going to be another epic series because the Rush, they play that rink really, really well.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. And, I think these matches are definitely worth, you've got to watch these. You've got to watch these as a fan, as a neutral, whatever you are. It's top notch hockey, and there's a lot of fight that we saw. These 2 teams are really desperate for the win. We saw that in Melbourne. Two heavyweights that just won't back down. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those ones.
How do you think the goaltending situation will shape up on the weekend, GG, between the Ice and the Rush?
Oh, okay. I'm going to be...
Bearing in mind that the Rush, they backed up Archie Smith in Melbourne last time they played the Ice.
I think it'll be a split. I think who's going to get the start on the Saturday?
When we've called games in Adelaide, GG, the goalie battles has been really intriguing, no matter who the Rush has played. We've seen some really good goalie battles when the Rush have played, and I think this is going to be exactly the same.
We should get Christian Knott in on the chat just to provide his tips, because he will know more about this than I will. But I mean, traditionally Adelaide kind of started the season, and Amelia Knott was starting the Saturday games, and Archie Smith on the Sunday. So yeah, I'm not confident at all. Christian Knott. Nope, I'm not a coach. I'm a dad. That's a good call. To go on lips are sealed. Thank you for the help. So I would guess Archie Smith on Saturday, Amelia Knott on Sunday. That would be my guess.
Yep. And the Melbourne Ice, I honestly don't know who will travel. I don't know who will be in the net to start for the Melbourne Ice, because they've actually, like, throughout the season, they've spread it out quite well between the goaltenders this season. So I've got no idea who is going to be in net. But when you've got Piers, Carson, and Best, you're like, that's a deep goaltending department. You could slot any one of those in there and they can do a job for you. They can steal the game.
Yeah, which is why I was fascinated that Piers didn't get a start that last weekend, right? Like, who I feel was goaltender of the season last year, has had good numbers ever since she made her AWHL debut. If I would guess like a split between Carson and Piers. But again, I don't know. It can be so weird. It's why too. Like, I think you could see Archie Smith going back to back. Like, it all depends on the Saturday. Like, would for example, would Katie Meyer have started on the Sunday if she'd faced 30 shots? I don't know. So it depends, I guess, on the workload. If I was a betting man, I would bet that Adelaide would have the greater of the shot share for both games. But yeah, so I would assume a split for Melbourne at least. You'll see two different goaltenders.
Yep.
Not sure about Adelaide. Not sure.
Well, as you know, GG, I suited up on Friday night with the Southern Lights Ice Hockey Club and had a run around at O'Brien. And when I was leaving, there was some local hockey getting played after us, and Sharks Ice Hockey Club were playing in O'Brien, and I'm pretty sure it was Michaela Pearce in net for the Sharks. I should have hung around and asked if you're traveling to Adelaide and if you're going to start.
You should have. But yeah, and you scored a goal, mate. So
Yeah, I did.
It's pretty good. We'll
I described it as I described it as a Michigan, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. More like a Geelong. More like a Geelong, mate.
Yeah. We've got a good comment in there, GG, in the comment section, if you want to throw it up before we go.
Which one?
I don't know if have you put it up there already. Did I miss it? Did I?
I put up Christian Knott and Nicole Knott's comments.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I missed Nicole's.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not on my game today. I think that we've just ticked over the hour, GG. I think that just about does us for this week of the weekly wraparound.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't preview Brisbane Sydney, but I mean, we'll be commentating both those games. So, if you want to put us on mute, that's totally fine. But that should be Brisbane chasing to get up the standings, and Perth is inactive next weekend, so it's an opportunity for the Lightning to temporarily at least leapfrog the Perth Inferno.
Yep. 100%. You think that just about does us?
Yeah, I was done an hour ago, mate.
Yeah. If there's any other comments before we go, chuck them in the chat. We'll get them up there. What you think is going to happen this weekend? What do you think about the finals? Just one last thing, GG. We could plug it again. Let the people know what's happening, because we will be having a poll of some sort with Save of the Season coming up.
Yes. Sarah Dottamajo is sponsoring the Save of the Season winner. All the proceeds will go to the winner. So we will put together some clips of goal of someone's to vote for. If you can think of a save that you think we should include, and roughly about whereabouts in the game it occurred, if you can let me know, because I'll be trolling through lots of video. So that way we can pick it up and include it as well. That would be great. We will also both be in Melbourne for finals. That is the plan. If you are going to be in Melbourne, please, and you see us, please come up and say hi. We'd love to have a chat. Yeah.
So we're forever grateful for Sarah and Sarah's family. It's awesome. It's sort of stuff, GG, we didn't think was possible when we started this platform, but we've just grown and grown, and we want people to grow with us. So we're very thankful for Sarah's family. Are we doing a Backchecks Beers and Banter podcast this week, GG?
We are.
So you can expect that to come out as well. We have Pride and Puck podcast season 2 will be launching as well. I will be recording with someone this Sunday. It's actually going international, GG, for this season 2. So the season 1 is, people who don't know, Pride and Puck podcast highlights the Australian LGBT ice hockey organisation, Harbour Lights Ice Hockey Club, Southern Lights Ice Hockey Club, which I host, and I have guests on to tell their story. You can find it at Pride Puck Pod on the socials, and it's also a link on our website to where you can listen to each episode of the podcast. And that season 1 was done last year. Season 2 launching off this Sunday. I'll be recording, and the episodes will be going up on our YouTube as well that people can view. So if you can get out and support it and follow and all those sorts of things for the Pride and Puck podcast, please do, because it's actually enjoyable stories from a lot of people and how they've found hockey and sport and things like that and how it's shaped them. But I think that just about does us, GG. We are Hockey Hype Australia. You can find us, as it says on the screen, at hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au, on the socials at hockeyhypeaus, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't think we were live on Instagram, GG. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
We're on LinkedIn.
But just...
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Yep. No, you go. No. You continue your ad read.
No,
I was going to say on the Backcheck Beers and Banter podcast, we'll also get into the senior women's team selections. So we figured we'd save that for the podcast. We'll get into some NHL news, of course, with the LA Kings. And they fired head coach Todd McClellan. We've had All-Star Weekend. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. The AJIHL has made a big announcement. We have the first import signings for the AIHL, some progress there as well with our coverage. So plenty to chat about. We just need to pick a day this week to record, don't we, Doogie? And yeah, we need to pick a time going forward for the weekly wraparound. I have uni that starts up from next week on Monday evenings. They've decided to put my classes there, which is fantastic. So let us know if you would like to see us on Sunday evenings, maybe around the same time on a Sunday or on a Tuesday. If you have a preference for either of those dates, Tuesday we could probably find a guest that participated during the weekend more easily, a player or a coach. A Sunday might be better with it being fresh in the mind. So let us know somehow by carrier pigeon or something. I don't know.
Or drop a comment in now before we close it up. We can quickly get it up on the screen if you've got a preference for when we do these weekly wraparounds, as Monday night is out of the picture at the moment. Although there's not a lot of weeks left in the AWGG, so that's probably a good thing that it's come now and not at the start of the season.
We are trying to lock in Georgia Carson. I think she's keen to come on to talk about the Ducks. Of course, she's been with the Ducks this season, represented for the Australian senior women's team as well. So we can, if you've got questions for her about her outstanding career, her time with the Melbourne Ice, stay tuned for in the next couple of weeks. We'll book a time with Georgia.
Yep. Yeah, we are on LinkedIn as well. GG actually posted today.
We've got a sample size of 1 Tuesday. Sunday could interfere with game times. Thanks, Nicole. Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot to think about, isn't it, GG? I think people like this show. I think people like the live show, the weekly wraparound where we discuss the action. So we've got to try and make sure that we get it in the right time slot.
We've got 2 for Tuesday. I feel like Richie Beno. Tuesday. So that's a big enough sample size. Let's go Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go Tuesday. 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Yeah, okay. There could be times where I'm in the car, GG, because my daughter trains for soccer on Tuesdays. So I could be just doing it from the car park.
Oh, let's work out a time. It doesn't need to be 6, but we can work out a time.
Yep. Well, 6 o'clock here is what is it, 3 p.m. in WA.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if it's a little bit later, you can bring in people from WA a bit more. I think that just about does us, GG. As we said, hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au, at the socials, at hockeyhypeaus, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as we just mentioned as well. The Triple B podcast, Backchecks, Beers and Banter this week. We'll have another episode. We've got a bit of news out of that as well, that platform too, GG. Pride of Puck podcast season 2 will be launching next week. First episode at Pride Puck Pod on the socials. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, all those sort of platforms as well. We're on YouTube, Hockey Hype Australia. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Please do all that sort of stuff. It helps us. There's all those algorithms and things like that. We chop up these episodes and put them up as clips on the YouTube. So if you don't want to watch the full episode, if you didn't tune in live, you can tune in and hit the YouTube and just select whatever you want to listen to. If you're a Sirens fan or a Lightning fan or whatever. So please subscribe to the YouTube.
Doogie does a ton of stuff with the YouTube. So please make him feel good about his efforts, because he does a lot of work clipping stuff. So please subscribe to the YouTube. It will. He puts up stats in the chat all the time about the YouTube stuff. It's his baby. If you want to make Doogie happy, subscribe on YouTube. Yeah,
it's slowly growing, GG. We put up shorts as well for the goal of the season. So Sarah Salmon's goal of the season had over 2K views. So please get on, subscribe to the YouTube and help us grow. As we say, it helped the sport grow. And then we have things like Sarah's family getting involved. So subscribe to the YouTube, please. That's it, GG.
Yeah, thanks heaps for watching. It's been great. I just have to say, I love this AWHL season. This has been so fun. It's been so fun doing the commentary with you. And it's so fun doing this show. Thank you for your support. It's great to be able to cover the league. it's such a privilege.
Yeah, 100%. Well said, GG. We thank everyone for their support, tuning in every week, commenting, liking, all that sort of stuff. Until next week on the weekly wraparound, we will be on live with the Backchecks Beers and Banter podcast this week. So keep an eye out on our socials. We'll announce that and when we're going to go live with that one. But until then,
thanks, Christian. Thanks, guys. Thanks, peeps.
Yep.
We'll
Thanks,
see
Christian.
you next time.
Really appreciate it. See yous.